Oh,
you can text to 53535. I do a 15-minute free call.
Oh, it's free?
It's free.
Okay, so if you can't afford the $10 book, consultations.
And it's good. Most of the people, I'm now working with people all across the nation. I've helped over 600 people. Hey. And it's been good. I'm full-time in my business.
You see the couple?
I know. I'm full-time in my business as of February. And I always tell people who are thinking about the jump, like, your business should be doing so well out of your full-time job. Like, I had to literally make a decision at work one day. I was looking at my work calendar and I was looking at my business calendar. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get them all 8 hours. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that kept happening. You can't tell your salary job you can't give them 8 hours today. Like, you can't do that. So you always talk to your mama first, all right?
Or somebody who was
whoever, so you're not homeless. And I said, Mama, I'm about to jump. My mom's an old school teacher, retired. And, you know, with her, she didn't really play too much risk when it came to work. But she saw how hard I worked before I jumped. And even still now, my work days are 13 hours. So it looks really cute. The flyers look cute. This looks cute. But if I'm not here, I'm at the office from 9 to 11 p.m.
During the hours where the edges get rough, and, you know, yeah.
And so,
well, go ahead, finish that thought.
And so I always say to people, like, you know, being your own boss is cute. And please believe me, you know, Jamaica, when I went to Houston, New Orleans, where I want to go and impact the world, but you still have to work.
All right, so now I hear you have an event coming up because we have to wrap up.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let us know a little bit about this event, what it is, where we can find it at, and why we should attend.
You're invited. It's this Saturday at the Huntington Park Rec Center. It's a free event. I'm not a nonprofit yet, so I fund these events on my own. It's the first event I ever saw in Philadelphia that 80 people turned out for free. And they sat down and they had a seat early at that. And I really do teach the class on student loan repayment that we never had. Like the fundamentals of how to repay your loans, how it affects your credit, how to buy a home. So if you're thinking like, I never even made a payment before, that's okay. You need to be in the room.
Whoa. Okay. Don't judge. Don't judge. Somebody said, whoa. So give us, you can, 3 tips for those who have student loan debts. Quite a few of us. Give us 3 tips for at least for over the summer. What we can do to take steps towards getting a hold on our student loan debt.
So because we have a new administration, I'll leave it at that. You want to make sure that you get into a repayment plan that fits you and not what's about to fit them. So a lot of people are avoiding repayment, but I'm like, you need to get in before you can't get in with the plan that President Obama had gave us before he left. He's never over really. But it's called the repay plan. So you need to look and see which plan works best for you. You need to know who is your loan lender. You don't even know where to start. So you need to pick up the phone or open the letter that turn multicolored. And the last thing is, please don't be surprised by wage garnishment. Back in the day, you used to go forever without having to pay a payment, and they never catch you, like catching up again, like the gingerbread man. Now it's like the 271st day on that next check is 15% missing.
That's 271st from the
days of being late of that payment, whatever we do. So
okay. So at least open it up. You know how long that 271 days is about.
And if you don't know how to get started or you need help getting started, I tell people I work for you and not the lender. I don't work for Sally. And please do stay tuned. I'm having a children's book release next month. It's called Who is Sally? And it's a little girl's journey about understanding who Sally Mae is through her church and her mom. And it's really funny. I mean, I even laughed back. Okay, I'm silly. I laughed at myself. That's the only child coming out. But it's really going to help our community and parents start the conversation about saving and paying for college.
Oh, Lord.
It's going to be fun.
I just don't, you know, their whole childhood is going to be killed once they know who's Sally. That should be a horror story. Who is Sally?
And at the end, she's going to decide that she needs to study and get a scholarship.
Yeah, she's going to be like, I need grants right now because I don't want to see Sally. Save Sally 3 times in the period.
So, yeah. I will tell people if they're not currently following me, please do. I'm on Instagram as the student loan doctor on Instagram. I do a lot of free lives. I teach about credit, whenever I go live. Sometimes it's just me being silly. That helps me too. But a lot of it is you learning. And then I have a webinar coming up, a free webinar on how to pay for grad school. That's going to drop next week if anybody's thinking about grad school.
I thought about it, then I fell alone, and I was like, no. So, but yes, all right, so we thank you.
Thank you so much
for all your knowledge. And of course, we have the 31-day budget guide, Create Your Legacy One Day at a Time by Sonia. Girl.
I'll be asking you this.
It's my budget. The way my budget is set up, I was going to sit down
the spending assessment will hurt your feelings. That's when I realized
I needed. What you mean?
I realized I needed to buy some stock in Starbucks. Because 1 month I gave Starbucks $150, like a private investor. So now I have some stock in Starbucks because I realized that's what I like to spend money on. You should spend money on. So
that's true.
So anyway, it's going to open your eyes like, I gave them what? I'm rich like that, and you'll see where your money's going.
That's true.
Good.
A quick 2-second survey. Take a moment, think about the brands that are always in your house, from smallest to largest, doesn't matter. Shout them out. What do you buy every month? Even Nike? Nike?
Colgate.
Colgate?
True.
Anybody else?
Lysol.
Lysol? Anybody else? Johnson & Johnson. Okay. So these are the kind of brands I'm gonna look into buying stock in. And I know you did a stocks webinar.
Yeah, I'm not a stock professional, but
I know, but you know a little bit of tricks too.
You know what? Because I think at the end of the day, when we talk about legacy and for our children's children, you can't leave an apartment behind. I've never seen that. You can't leave an empty bank account. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to have a fish fry for you when you pass. So I think that when we talk about stock and we talk about things like life insurance, those things get overlooked, but it would be so much easier to say she was a good woman or she was a good man if there was something to celebrate. And I'm gonna leave the crowd with this last statistic, and then the next group can bring that energy back up. The reason why I stayed in business and the reason why I unapologetically serve African American women in everything I do is because the statistic says our net worth is $5. So I don't know if you want that to be your story, and I'm trying to change it to be my story, my children's story. But you know, Gucci and Louis and red bottoms do not count in net worth. So we have to be more mindful of how we tell our story when we leave, because statistically, that's what's being told for us.
Boom, mic drop. All right, give it up for Miss Sonia Lewis, the student doctor. All right. Bro will help her down here. Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And we are going to keep it moving. Miss Sonia Lewis, the student loan doctor. Did y'all learn? Y'all got a little something? You know, how did that you feel? Yeah. I know some of y'all gonna go home to whoever you're talking to and have a little conversation probably about finances or whatever. And I hope it goes well. You know. But we're gonna keep it moving into our next interviewee. And it's funny because we left on this. Definitely this women's empowerment vibe. And this woman, she is the founder of Roar for Good, okay? And if you never heard about Roar for Good, yeah, look, she was like, if you never heard about Roar for Good, you're about to hear about it. And hopefully get behind everything that she stands for. But she has this very amazing and compelling story. She's a refugee from Kuwait. And she went from dodging bombs to saving lives. So please give it up for Miss Yasmin Mustafa. Hey, honey. Come on up, come on up. Like a student, but that's only because you're always schooling people. You see what I did there? Yeah, just look at the words. I tried. All right, how you doing? Good. All right, so let's jump in.
Friends. So
Yes, we are.
I'm
And
the
you
one that's been
saw,
talking to my colleagues.
you saw us.
Sylvester.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you're the one that connected us.
I don't remember.
Yes, it was via email. You connected
Look,
us.
Sylvester, I'm the connector for you.
Because you're a few dollars or whatever. However you want to look at it, you know. All right, so let's jump in. What was 8-year-old Yasmin like?
8-year-old Yasmin. So you mentioned Kuwait. I was born in Kuwait. My parents are Palestinian. It was right amongst the Persian Gulf War. So it was right when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait for its oil. And it was such a traumatic event that I don't remember much of myself before the war. I do remember that I was a lot more carefree. The sense that the war was happening. We knew that something was going on because my parents would always glue to the television. Just a long story short, we were in a bomb shelter when these two men came in asking for my little brother. They told us we had 1 hour to pack 2 bags, and they brought us to America. Just 7 weeks prior. Incidents, my parents were here in Philadelphia. My mom gave birth to my youngest brother early, and then fast forward 7 weeks, we were in a bomb shelter. They sent collect all American citizens outside the country for their safety, and because he was born here, they came to take all of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Very lucky.
okay, so that's when you're 8. You make
That's
this.
8
You
years
make
old.
this trek to America.
Yes.
For about the time of you being elementary school, middle school, high school, that time of, for the most part, adjusting to a whole new culture.
Yeah, good question. What I remember the most when I came here is in Kuwait, everybody looked like me. I had never seen an Asian person. I had never seen a Black person. I had never seen diversity before. I'd never seen really tall buildings, people living in crowded places. I think the number one thing that I always point to is I'd never seen people walk dogs on a leash. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but in Kuwait, like, they just roam around.
That sounds like North Philly. I'm dead serious though. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, middle school and high school was very lonely. I was an outsider. When I came here, I didn't speak any English. You know, it was so sudden. We didn't learn English in school, so we would be put in English as a second language classes, and I would do that half the day and then come to the rest of the class, the other half. So because I wasn't around all day like the other students, I was automatically the outsider. And also because I was Arab and there weren't any other Arabs in my school, and because I didn't speak the language very well. So the biggest moment for me in school was when I was 15, I actually learned that I was considered illegal. Even though we had been intentionally brought over by the US Embassy to America, that for whatever reason, our paperwork slipped through the immigration system. And when I went to apply for colleges, I needed a social security number, and I didn't have one. And when we reached out to a lawyer, she came back and said, oh, you're illegal, you're considered undocumented, you might be deported at any moment.
So wait a minute. U.S.
This is heavy. I didn't wait for it to get heavy like this.
No. So U.S. ambassadors came and got you, brought you to the States, and then forgot, or however it happened, you didn't end up with a social security card. Or number.
Yeah.
None of you.
None of us except for my dad.
And I thought you were going to say your brother, because he was born here.
Yeah, so because he was legal, he was able to apply and get one really
Okay.
easily, but because we were Kuwaiti, we were not considered. To this day, I still don't know what happened. I would like to learn one day, but that was really the moment where I really felt like an outsider, because my friends went to get their driver's permits, and they went to get their driver's license, and they went to get their, apply for college, and I couldn't do the same thing, all because of this 9-digit number on a little blue card, and I just couldn't understand why.
How long did it take you to get a social security number?
25 years old.
Okay, wait. Okay, I know I got my driver's license on my 16th birthday. I'm guessing that was like high school around the time you said 15. You had to wait 10 years to get a social security number?
I did.
In that 10 years,
A lot of illegal stuff.
sounds like North Philly. No, okay,
You do what you gotta do.
so, but you went to Temple. Was that, okay, I don't want to get you, hold on.
We can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
That's the point.
Wait, they can't arrest me now.
Okay.
They can't arrest me now.
Yeah,
So I'll tell you everything.
All right, lay it out.
Somehow I got connected to someone who was able to get me an international driver's license, a fake one.
Oh.
Now,
Oh my gosh, I just want to say, I did not know what was about to come out on this show, but this is why they call me the Oprah of Philly, okay? So,
apparently that's the thing. It's legit. Like, you can actually get one. An international driver's license.
okay, so is there a real one or is it only a fake one?
Apparently there are real ones, but I got a fake one.
Okay.
And I was able to drive when I was 19.
Okay.
Now, I did get pulled over. I did get that confiscated. I did have to pay a huge fine and go to court.
Okay.
But I just got another one.
Persevere. No. Okay, so, when did you start at Temple? Because I did, or when did you went to college?
I went to college. Yeah, so when I was in school, I loved reading and I loved learning. I always thought education as like a great equalizer. And I had straight A's in school. And when I tried to go to college, because of not having a social security number, they wouldn't let me at first. But my mom is a very tenacious woman. She stormed down to the Montgomery County Community College in her best outfit, went up to the president's secretary and said, "I must see the president." I wish I could do an accent because she has a really cute accent. And the secretary asked, "What's wrong?" "I can't tell you. I must see the president. I must see her right now. It's very important." And she refused to leave until the president came out with her and explained to her everything that had happened. Another thing that happened, which I'll just touch on very briefly, is after we found that we were undocumented, I graduated high school and my dad just left us. He packed 2 bags and left and took all the family things with him. Yeah. It sounds like a soap opera. It sounds like a telenovela, right?
You see, I'm glad it is there. I'll be like, shit. Oh my God.
Yeah. So we were undocumented and broke. And she explained to the president what had happened. And she actually pulled out the dean list letters that we used to receive and said, she has to go, you must do something. And apparently they met for 2 hours. And then the dean said, or the president said, "Okay, she can go. I'll let her take 6 credits at a time." And I took 6 credits at a time every semester, including summers, for 4 years until I got my associates. And then I went to Temple.
Wow. By any means necessary. Seriously, it's like by any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
And so, okay, so where we're going to go from here, because I know you have a lot in your story. But fast forward. No, I want to pause because I just saw this social media post that you put up where your picture and plaque is now, you received like some kind of special award. Tell me a little bit about this because I remember at the end of this post on Instagram, you mentioned that they used to make fun of you, they used to mistreat you, all of these other things, and you were like, now my picture is hanging in so-and-so bitches. Like you really, it was like a drop mic moment, like, y'all tried to comfort me, you hated on me, and you know what? Now my face is in there and my name is on this. So tell me a little bit about that.
School, I was made fun of a lot. I mean, I was different. I had an accent, I was very shy, I didn't speak a lot, and my parents just so happened to own the 7-Eleven right across from the middle school and right across from the high school.
Oh yeah, you caught all the shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So no one would even call me by my name. They would call me the 7-Eleven girl.
Oh.
And I remember particularly a couple bullies. Jeff Owens is one of them.
Oh, shit.
Oh, this is on YouTube. Oh, shit. Okay.
Well, hey, Jeff. I hope you come a long way. We've grown.
Yeah, they're just some kids when they don't, they're just some mean kids.
Yeah.
And I hated high school. I couldn't wait to get the hell out of high school. And somehow, I don't know how it happened, they invited me to come back and give the commencement speech to the graduating class last week. And they inducted me into the Alumni Hall of Fame.
Hey.
Wow.
So,
life has a way of coming full circle.
It really came around because when I walked into the stadium to give the speech, I walked into an entrance by these 3 girls. Right before I got on stage, I relived that memory of these 3 girls coming up to me and being like, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here. Leave." And I'm like, "I'm not leaving." And then they freaking with me.
Well,
Yeah.
then you have to.
But now I got the plaque, so whatever.
Okay, look, see, it all works out. All right, so we gotta fast forward. I know we're short on time. We gotta wrap it up. But you are now, fast forward through all this, the founder of Roar for Good. Tell us what Roar for Good is and where you're at now with it.
So it took 22 years to become an American citizen. So when I turned 30, so it was 5 years ago. Thank you. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. And for the first time, I could travel and do the things I wanted to do. And the first thing I did is I booked a 6-month trip out of the country. And I traveled throughout South America for 6 months. And I noticed that everywhere that I went, I kept meeting women who had experienced some type of harassment or attack or abuse, and it was just never ending. And it really opened my eyes to the violence a lot of women face today. And when I came back to Philadelphia, I was living on 13th and Locust. Well, my neighbor went out to her car and she was attacked. She was grabbed from behind, dragged into an alley. She was beaten. She was brutally raped. And that was the moment I had the idea for Roar for Good. And the idea was women use pepper spray and tasers to defend themselves, but they have to pull it out of their pocket or in their purse. What if it was wearable? The idea was going to be called the Macelet, Mace in a bracelet. Now, it actually turned out to be a terrible idea because most women are afraid that they'll be overpowered and their own self-defense tool used as a weapon against them. Ended up just redoing everything after all this market research and coming up with Athena. And Athena is a wearable accessory that you can clip on anywhere that you want, and you can use to connect to loved ones when you feel unsafe or when you're in trouble. And what it does is it can sound an alarm, it can message friends and family with your exact location, and in 2 months it will be able to call 911. So it's kind of like Life Alert, but for the modern day gal.
This is like, don't sleep on the power of this or how much she has accomplished. I mean, you've been on TED Talk, you've been featured on CNN, and that's a small portion of just how big attention Roar for Good has really gotten. You have a successful crowdfunding campaign, which is this fundraising online. Tell us how long the campaign was and how much you raised.
Well, the special part of what we're doing is where the onus is now always on women to not do this, not wear that, not drink that. And we decided we didn't want to create something that repeated that we really wanted to make a difference, that we wanted to get to the root cause of violence. And after talking to a lot of researchers, we found that lack of empathy contributes to attacks against women, and that if you teach kids when they're most impressionable about consent and respect and healthy relationships, you can actually have the biggest impact and you can get to the core of the attacks. So we're a social impact company, we're a B Corp. We donate 10% of every sale to nonprofits that teach this type of education. And I think that's what helped us have a very successful crowdfunding campaign. It ran for a month. Our goal was to raise $40,000 to build Athena, and we ended up doing $313,000.
No, it's built. It's built now. I mean, at this point, we're shipping. You're shipping. You're beyond production, and I remember you documenting, you going to the manufacturer, and just, the prototypes that were coming out. And I mean, I'm waiting to get mine because I invested.
Oh shit.
And what? What's your? Oh, I am getting gifted. To tell you. All right. So yeah, this is it. Just so you guys can see, this is what it looks like. It's magnetic, and I just press it, right? And when I press it, it will automatically send a message, a notification to my loved ones that I'm in trouble. Easily clip it onto this or wherever else. I probably would put it on my purse. I mean, at this point, I think, and it comes in different designs. Like there's rose gold. What other colors are there? It's like all
black, silver, and rose gold.
Black, silver, and rose gold. So, you can switch it up depending on, what kind of investment level you have. If you can buy multiple or whatever. I believe at the time when I did participate in crowdfunding, it was like if you buy one, you sponsor one for another woman or for someone in need. So that was really cool. So I've been trying to get you on the show for a while. So I'm so thankful to finally have you here. And I want to close out back over your life, right? What would you tell the young girl who was in high school, trying to adjust to a culture that she didn't know, at that point, realizing that she's illegal, really taking into account everything that you've accomplished at this point, what would you tell her now?
Yes, I am who I am because of everything that I've gone through. I would say that I have learned that you cannot grow without struggle, that they go hand in hand. If I were to say anything, I recently learned about resiliency and what makes people resilient. And I came across a study that 6 researchers spent 80 years studying resiliency. And what they did is they would go to poor neighborhoods, community leaders, and they would ask them one question. Kids that are making it that shouldn't be. And then they would interview them and interview their families. And they would repeat that every single year. And they did it for 50 years. And what they found was that resiliency cannot occur without struggle. You must go through the bad times in order to become resilient. And that resilient people have 2 traits. That they're eternal optimists. No matter how bad things get, they always see the light at the end of the tunnel. And 2, they believe they control the environment around them, not the other way around. And that resiliency can be learned. And I don't know, I love stats and studies and data, and I wish I would have learned about that study earlier because, you know, I can call myself resilient now that I learned about all this, and it makes me, it gives me hope.
Hope is important.
Yeah.
I hope we all can have a little more of that. And I think you are definitely an example of just the power of hope and how far it can take you, even when you don't realize that that's the thing that's carrying you. This is Ms. Yasmin Mustafa, founder of World. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will get your order to you.
Okay. Well, I'm wearing this for the rest of the show. Are you leaving? Because I'm not.
No, I'll leave it.
I mean, we can make it up, but I'm wearing this for the rest of the show. So we're keeping it moving. Give me a time check. Okay, I want to call up my next guest. I have been trying to get this woman on stage for Sincerely Chosen, I want to say for a year and a half maybe, and I finally was able to get her. I've been trying to get her specifically for June because she is the godmother month. Woo! And June, in case you didn't know, is Black Music Month, and we have Black Music Month because of this woman. So please give it up for Miss Deanna Williams. Hello. How are you? How you been?
I'm inspired listening to these wonderful stories. Women and empowerment, people empowerment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
For sure.
I have to say to you, thank you so much, because what you've been doing is documenting people in our community who are making a difference, as are you. And I know that your heart, your soul is in this.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad that we could probably get together.
Yeah.
Especially during the Black Music.
I know.
I love that we're in the heart, or one of the hearts of North Philadelphia, on Cecil B. Moore Avenue. And I live in this community. I don't live far from here. And I went to Temple University. Temple Bay.
Okay. All right, so let's jump in. It is Black Music Month, and we're going to get into that. But of course, I like to kind of take it back. And I want to know, what was 9-year-old Deanna like?
9-year-old daughter of George and Nancy Williams. I lived in the Bronx at that point. I was born in Queens, raised in the Bronx as a small child. And then Harlem, but 9 years old, I was in the Bronx.
And what were you doing or not? Like, I mean, were you did, because you're in everything that you do, whether it's, you know, on the radio, whether it's out in the world, you are tied to music. Like that seems to be a constant just for you. So I'm like picturing you like dancing and salsa and know everything all around. Like, what is that dream?
Music for sure in the house. My father, we used to listen to WABC, The Good Guy. The name that was extremely popular. And my father loved music, so I heard Motown, I heard James Brown, I heard the classics because my parents were all up in the radio. And so, yeah, music was an integral part of the experience growing up for me.
You're a staple on a radio station. On Sundays, we're tuned in. You know what I mean? Like the city is tuned into you. So what makes you get in the story? What came first? Was it radio or was it music?
Well, music first because I was a child and being exposed to it in the car, in the house, everywhere we went. My father just loved it. And my father more than my mother. But radio came much later. Radio came when I went to college. Initially, I thought I would be a jazz musician, but I couldn't improvise. I was a horrible flautist, even though I studied with the great jazz musician Jimmy Heath 201 during the Jazzmobile program. So music was always a love. I knew a lot about artists and I knew a lot about music, but when I saw that radio station, that expression, love at first sight, was applicable to me because I was like, ooh, turntables, a microphone. I love people and I know a lot about music. There was the winning combination. I knew then I wanted to be.
So you go into radio. What, looking back, how did that change your life going into radio? How did that really shape and mold the woman that you are today?
Well, I think whenever you discover your passion, Sarita, whatever that might be, for me, of course, it was radio. But when you come to your passion, or when you see that woman that you like and that she just makes the hair stand on the back of your neck and just tingles you all over, or you see that man and you can't catch your breath and you know your heart is palpitating. Well, those are the feelings that I had when I first walked into a radio station. And then when I sat behind a microphone, it was the key that unlocked the door. It was a fit. So what it did for me is I am big into community service. I believe in using the radio as a platform to an exchange with listeners, not just to feel good playing the music, because that is critical and that's one of the main reasons people listen to the radio. But I wanted to say and do things that were going to be qualitative differences in people's experience. So even with my Sunday podcast called School Sunday with Derek Sampson on 100.3 WRNB, we bits, we laugh, we're silly, but then we get serious and we have serious people on our show. This weekend we had film historian and author Donald Vogel, who happens to be the brother of one of the president of the Tribune, and he's written definitive biographies on people like Dorothy Dandridge, Ethel Waters. His latest book is Elizabeth and Michael, about the love affair between Elizabeth Taylor. And so I want my audience to know about books, cinema, politicians, community, civic leaders, all of that in between the music is what we do. So back early in my career, the mantra for me, to use the microphone to entertain, to educate, to elevate. And I've been doing radio since college, that was 1972. But I got my first job in Washington, D.C. at the original Quiet Storm station in 1973. So
born yet.
Yeah.
I came in 88. I was late at that point, you know, to just your greatness. But what I do know is constantly changing. I mean, even in Philly, I came to Philly officially as a resident in 2006. Temple brought me here. Before that, I was in Delaware, and I got to Delaware in 2001. Before that, I'm from Pittsburgh, so I spent my time there. But in the time that I've been in Philadelphia, I have seen radio personalities come and go. I mean, like they flip. It seems almost, if they're not lucky, every year. How have you been able to maintain longevity in this industry?
The exception of WDAS, which is a powerhouse radio station. I'm going to give major props, shout out to my dear friend Derek Corbett, who runs the joint, and to my former colleagues, Tony Brown, who has been doing the Quiet Storm when I first worked there.
Yeah, his voice.
Yeah, you hear Tony, he's been there for years. Same thing with Patty Jackson, who I think is an exceptional broadcaster.
Yeah.
Mimi Brown, who I was with last week at an event that Isaac Ham produced, honoring a lot of great people. So WDAS is an exception in radio because that is not the rule.
Absolutely.
But as far as my career is concerned, I have been with, I was one of the first employees of Radio One. When Kathy Hughes bought her first FM station, I was the program director of that station in the 80s in Washington, D.C. The station is called Magic 102.3 WMMJ. And so my people politics are good. I respect people. I'm a mentor. I've been mentored myself by Kathy Hughes, one of TV One, everything with a one in it. Kathy and Alfred, Alfred Liggins, her son and her partner, and the CEO of Urban One now. So, you know, I believe in super serving. And I believe that super serving the community in many, many ways. Like right now, I want to go back to Graterford Prison and do a show, broadcast, and even a performance. And I did that years ago. I took the Isley Brothers there and did a full out concert, with the exception of the dancers, because we just felt the dancers would be too much for people who are not ever getting out of prison. But you know, I didn't want to laugh, but I was out there. No, but that's real talk. And I mean, I saw grown men sitting in the cry because here they are in prison, in jail, in prison, in maximum security prison, with no opportunity for parole or getting out. They were lifers. There was a section where the lifers were sitting, crying when they heard, you know, Ronald Isley and Ernie Isley and the full band singing Summer Breeze and, you know, all the great classic songs. So I don't forget, I'm shouting out not just incarcerated men and women, but I'm talking with the men and women who are in the armed services around the world, because we stream on rmbphilly.com. So my audience is global in scope, and I'm mindful of that. But I'm shouting out those men and women who are making sacrifices for our safety and well-being, whether we like military actions or not. My father was in the Navy. He served in the Korean War. He had a Purple Heart, a bronze medal. So I have great regard for people who serve on that level. So I'm talking to mothers with new babies. I'm talking to seniors like myself, good and grown people. And I think the dynamic that exists with my partner, Derek Sampson, we've been together, we were trying to figure that out recently. I think we're going on 7 years of being partners on the air together. And he started as my board op, but he had so much personality that I would talk to him during my breaks. And sure enough, he went from being my board op / producer to being my co-host, and I advocated for him because I already had a very successful radio career. I've worked at WBLS New York. I've been a program director. I've been in the game a long time. So my interest, my desire for a long time has been cultivating other women as well as men to be broadcasters. And Derek, I felt, had the personality that, because I'm the straight guy, he's the jokester. When I'm not trying to joke, people think it's funny, which I find a little offensive. Because, you know, when I'm really making an effort, people don't laugh. But when I'm not trying, I get a lot of ha-ha. Okay, a lot of Richard Pryor laughter. But anyway, I attribute my longevity to my confidence and belief in what I do, and knowing that I'm speaking to people you know, it could be that you're waking up and just having a miserable hard time that day. And if I can say something or do something on that radio or play a song that's gonna take you up instead of keeping you down, then I'm doing my job. And I'm mindful that while we're talking to hundreds of thousands of people at one time, that's not my approach. I'm talking like I'm speaking directly to you, to one person. And so I think that personal, intimate approach that I have to a microphone is part of what has lent itself to my longevity of, as I said, I started in college in 1972. I will be 64 in November. It's a blessing.
You make me want to run.
And you know, and I also give reverence to the women and men before me. I had a mentor, a gentleman named Van Jay. When I was in college, I called him up one day and I said, I want to be on the radio. And he was like, oh, really? I said, I listen to you. You're my favorite DJ. I want to come in and see what you do. And he, years later, told me, he was like, girl, you You had so much chutzpah. And I said, I do not get coffee. I'm not a get coffee type girl. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not going to go get it for somebody else. So be very, very clear. So I had a lot of confidence. And that I treated. My father told me, he said, you can be anything you want to be. I just want you to be the best at it. He said, if you're a garbage collector, just be the best garbage collector. So I'm glad that my daddy lived long enough to see me.
We got a garbage collector.
Okay, well, I'll all do props.
And he gets it done.
Guess what? Without garbage collectors, think about the mess you would have. They are people who are keeping our community clean and safe. It would be rat pandemonium and who knows what else, and disease infested. We don't need or want that. So anyway.
Well, okay, you did. Okay, so Kathy Hughes, because that wasn't planned, but it came out. My divas in my head that I look to, especially, you know, I got pregnant when I was 16, had my daughter when I was 17, and just knowing her story and, you know, knowing how she was sleeping in the studio that she was trying to hold on to, you know, with her son, and really just going after her dreams.
It was turned down for a bank loan over 30-something times.
Right,
Yeah,
countless times, you know, trying to
perseverance. If you look in the dictionary, she's the one of the faces you would see. Absolutely.
She is the definition.
Yeah.
So what's some of the advice that she gave you?
Well, I'm getting advice from her consistently. It's not any one thing, but many things. Kathy believed in me. We met very early in our radio career. She was in sales. I was on the radio. I met her in 1973 when I was hired at WHUR. She was in the sales department. She was like a local sales manager. And we just bonded. At that point, she had a child because she had a teenage pregnancy. She got pregnant very young with her son, who's now her partner, who was a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School. She told him, you get your MBA, I'll turn my company over to you. And she kept her word. He got his MBA, he took the company public. He has done nothing but grow the company in a remarkable way, but they're still partners. So she's given me a lot. We're best friends. So I get advice from her. I get criticism. I get, you know, sometimes I don't feel as constructive, but, you know, that's when we fight as sisters. But I've gotten a lot of love from her and guidance. And I happen to, people think that I got this job because we are best friends. She didn't even know that I had been hired by Helen Little when I went back to terrestrial radio, because I was doing an internet radio show from a station based in London, when Helen Little said, you belong back on the radio in Philadelphia. Yes, for 10 years. I was there from 80 to 90. And, you know, so I have been on the radio pretty consistently since I started in college. But the advice she always gives me is just, I'm inspired, just being around her, just seeing her. You know, you've got Oprah Winfrey, who many of us know because of her TV show, but then you've got Kathy Hughes, who was probably the second ranking woman in terms of media, with owning TV One, Radio One, Interactive One. And she's probably one of the wealthiest American women on the planet. You know, you don't always see her name on the list, but she is one of those women. So, and her wealth really comes from giving. I was telling someone a story the other day. I had a godchild who was struggling, and Kathy was on the board of this particular school. And I asked her, I said, do you know of any scholarships or anything that her mother, who was a single parent, could avail herself to help with the tuition? And unbeknownst to me, I found out later that she paid a semester for that young lady. I was pretty distraught when the young lady dropped out of school shortly thereafter, but Kathy went without me asking and paid her tuition. So she is engaged consistently in acts of kindness. Right now, she's employing thousands of primarily Black, but white people as well, Asian, Latino. She's interested in diversity. And so she's an inspiration. So yeah, she's told me many things.
So I guess in this sense, Black Music Month. We're now June 21st, so it's in full swing. How did it come about, and what was your role in it?
This is the 38th anniversary of June Black Music Month. It started with my ex, Kenny Gamble, who's one of the architects of the sound of Philadelphia, and a great songwriter, producer, composer with his partner, Leon Huff, songs for Teddy Pendergrass, Patti LaBelle, Lou Rawls, Billy Paul, me and Mrs. Jones. A great catalog. But Gamble was interested in galvanizing the music industry. And he had gone to Nashville and saw what the Country Music Association was doing in Music City. They have carved out a whole city and an industry where you've got Music Row, publishers, record companies, there are clubs, there are opportunities for people to showcase their talents. So he was like, we need to do that in Philadelphia, and we need to do that in the music industry. So at the time, there was an organization that is now defunct called the Black Music Association, the BMA. And under the auspices of the Black Music Association, Gamble said, let us set aside a time, a month, much like we had February, Black History Month. Let's set this month aside to celebrate the contributions past, present, and the generations coming up that are engaged in creating, marketing, promoting Black music. And so it was really heady because I'm talking about Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, you name an artist, all of them, Isaac Hayes, they were all involved, Bob Marley, I mean, they were all involved in the establishment of this organization and of Black Music Month. I was involved with the local chapter, and of course, because Gamble and I were together at the time, we have 3 adult children now and 1 grandchild, but I was his partner. So, and like I said, super serving the community has always been and always, Sarita, will be my agenda as a woman who is on television and on the radio. That's my responsibility. So I worked with Gamble to establish Black Music Month. And then I wrote President Clinton when he was in office, and I asked him, could he host a reception on the lawn of the White House, much like Jimmy Carter, who was the very first president to say June is Black Music Month. Yeah. But then his people told me, well, we see where Jimmy Carter hosted this big event, Chuck Berry, a lot of artists performed on the lawn. It was a picnic. It was really an exciting day. This was June 7th, 1979. But he didn't sign a presidential, right, very close to, well, Juneteenth a little later. He did not sign a presidential proclamation. So the White House said, well, why don't you just go get some legislation and then come back and you can meet with President Clinton. Well, really? Go get some legislation. You see how hard they're having getting some health care bills done, and it's a dominant Republican Senate right now. But I did. I went, knocked on people's doors. I wrote letters.
It's all up in Harrisburg.
Well, not Harrisburg. I went to D.C.
Oh, you went to
I was
D.C.
yeah, no, this was D.C. This was the House of Representatives and the Senate. And so I got Arlen Specter, who was then the Republican senator from Pennsylvania, and I also got Shaka Fattah to be my advocates. And Shaka introduced the legislation. I got a call one day, I was in my office, and they said they're about to introduce the legislation. The bill was called the African American Music Bill, and in it, it said June is Black Music Month. So once it passed, which was pretty heady and exciting, because I was a girl from the Bronx and Harlem. What did I know about passing or introducing legislation? I actually wrote the draft, and they put it in the whereas, you know, all that language that they put, yeah. Then they called me and said it passed on the floor. You know, yeah. I called my mother and father immediately. I said, yes, mommy. I was like, okay, you know, and so at that point, and the year was 2000 at that point. So imagine from 1979 to 2000, there had been celebrations, ongoing celebrations of June Black Music Month in a myriad of ways, which I'll share with you in a moment. But after 2000, and I got the legislation, I was invited to a private meeting in the Oval Office with President Clinton. It was the first of several meetings that I had with President Clinton and the White House, and the relationship continued with George Bush. I was in and out of the Bush White House like it was my house, okay? They called on me to get references for artists to come perform, everything for Easter egg hunts. I was constantly promoting and getting Black artists into the White House. This is before Michelle and Barack Obama. So, to African American Appreciation Month, which, you know, I'm cool with. It's still Black Music Month, and that's what I refer to it. So
that's what the media calls it, Black Music Month.
Yeah. So my role has been to help give birth to it, to nurture it, to support. So
I said you're almost like a quiet storm.
oh, well, Kathy Hughes founded the Quiet Storm.
Yeah.
That was her idea.
Yeah, but I mean, just in terms of really moving this forward, it's like, I see where Ebony covered you and, you know, other national outlets have covered you, as far as your role in making this happen. But in a sense, you kind of been the woman behind the scenes, really helping to move this forward, to make sure that it's becoming everything it was meant to be.
You know, Sarita, thank you for that. I was actually in bed the other night and flipping through the channels, and I saw an Xfinity commercial that said, June is Black Music Month, and I hopped up, grabbed my phone, videotaped it, sent it to my ex, to Kenny Gamble, and I was like, look at our baby. I mean, we have actual babies all grown up, but this is our baby as well, because it's something that we put time, energy, belief. And let me tell you why June Black Music Month is important, Sarita, for all of us. I would venture to say that most of us hear Black music on the regular. It's in our cars, it's in our homes. We fall in love to it. We fall out of love to it. When we're down, it lifts us up. When we're up, it can take us higher. When we want to party hardy, we listen to Black music. And not only do we, but when I tell you billions around the planet, I have traveled as far as Asia, South America, Africa, all through the Caribbean, all through the United States. Black music is at the very core of American culture. And it is American music, created by Black people, but it's American music. It's one of our greatest exports culturally, and also in terms of commerce, to the tune of billions, not millions people, billions, billions, billions of dollars. And so what can we do as consumers? Even though I work in the music business, my core business is coaching celebrities. I work with high-profile, established, and emerging people in sports, in radio and television. Damn, these lights, okay, we're about to have an afro up here. Yes, because I'm like, whoa, this is hot up here. I'm about to consume. But what can we do to support Black Music Month? You can go to clubs where live music is being performed. You can buy the music of artists who you love. I'm not talking about file sharing like Napster used to do. I'm talking about buy. Like today, I was in the car, I was listening to WDAS, because I listen to all the stations. But I heard a song and I had forgotten the song, and I was like, who is that? It was Keisha Cole. What's the name of the song? It was a great Keisha Cole song, Heaven Sent. And that song came out in 2007. And I was stopped at a red light and I pressed buy.
I was about to sing it. I was about to sing it.
So I understand the importance of buying music because it supports the writers who wrote it. That's how they make their living. It supports the artists. The myriad of people are involved in the when you purchase music. Buy the merchandise of artists that you like, or your neighbor's children, about artists from back in the day. Duke Ellington, the people, the foundation, Louis Armstrong, explain the challenges that these people went through. And if you don't know much about the old school artists, talk about old school hip hop. You know, yesterday we lost Prodigy, 42 years young, to sickle cell. You know, but we should be celebrating these artists while they're alive and demonstrating our commitment and support of their creativity and what they do to make a difference in our lives. And so there's so many ways. Go to your child's school, go to the community center, set up a program, ask the teacher, can we do a Black Music Month event where we talk about artists from the past? Maybe you just focus on artists from Philadelphia. We are a music mecca. Philadelphia, name genre, from rock to Rosetta Thorpe, a Black woman who lived not too far from here. Check her out, Rosetta Thorpe. She played the guitar. She could put circles around Eric Clapton, any of those guys. Genre, Dixie Hummingbirds, gospel, R&B, come on. Patti LaBelle, Teddy Pendergrass, Jill Scott, the Roots, they're all from here. So we have a lot to be proud of. So you could just focus on saying, okay, today we're going to talk about Philly artists. And you can go back. You can go back to Chubby Checker, Dee Dee Sharp. The list is long. We are the home of Tom Bell, who wrote and produced the Stylistics, okay? The Spinners, all right? Dionne Warwick from this community. Leon Huff is from Camden, New Jersey, right across the bridge. But, you know, he had a record company in the studio, Sigma Studios, right here in Philadelphia. So our contribution is vast. We have centuries, given the fact that Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States. We had many freed, enslaved people and abolitionist movement here in this country. So there were very successful, prominent musicians back in the day that were performing for presidents, you know, heads all that went down here in Philadelphia. So those of us who are from here, or like me, adopted citizens, because I've been here longer than I was in the Bronx and Harlem and New York. So I consider Philadelphia, even though I reside also in New Orleans, I have a home in 2 historic places. We have a lot to be proud of, and we need to share the legacy of our grandeur with others, with our children. Talk to an elder, sit and hear their stories about going to see whoever come to the Just Jazz Club here. I mean, when it comes to jazz, Philadelphia, my God, the Heath Brothers, the list is long.
It's here.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm very passionate about our music because think about it. At the core of our music is fashion, language, dance, all of that. It is tied in, it's connected. And it's the fabric, it's the DNA of us as a people. And when you think about when we came here, convey messages about how to escape, you know, what time was going to sleep, which was the safe haven place on the Underground Railroad. All of that was conveyed in Negro spirituals and field hollers, all of that. So we have used music for our enlightenment, our, you know, for our lives, and it's at the very core of what we do. We are.
And this is why you are the godmother of Black music. Like seriously, this is why. So they're telling me to give me my cue. I have to wrap up. I'm getting ready to do my next interview, right? And this is going to be an interesting one. And you mentioned Mr. Campbell, and that you all share children, and you know, you have the baby that is Black Music Month. But of course, you have grown children, so that's a long time of co-parenting. And the person that I'm bringing up, we co-parent. We have. She said, "Oh, whoa." We have 2 daughters. We have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. What advice would you give to young parents who co-parent, who are, or not even just co-parent, who are parents and raising children in this day and age?
Remember what brought you together to make those babies in the first place. Remember the love, remember the tenderness, remember the good times. Because obviously, if you're not together anymore, there were some bad times that caused you to stray from one another. But put forth what is most important, which is the health, the well-being of your children. Put aside the differences and come together in the commonalities. What are the common denominators? Don't focus on the differences, because if you focus on the differences, you're not going to be able to co-parent. I give all due respect. You know, the other day was Father's Day. But guess what, people? Today is Father's Day again. And Mother's Day and Guardian Day. So every single day, of course, the commercial industry sets aside a certain day. I get it. And a special day to acknowledge people. I get it, and I participate in it. But I am so blessed to have had and have the head of my family be a person who I admire. Kenny Gamble, if y'all don't know, please do a Google, do a duck search, whatever. Do your engine search and check out this brother who grew up without a father, with a single parent, and who has devoted his life of our people. How could I not respect that? And I even say to our adult children, be proud, because you don't have to go look in a history book. You can just look at your daddy and see a person who, you know, he did community redevelopment in South Philadelphia, which is where he grew up. When I first came here over 40-something years ago, it was blighted, drug infested. A sister couldn't walk down the street with her children. Well, I'm saying that it's all good and there's no crime, but it's infinitely more safer than it once was. And his agenda was education. He has charter schools. And perfect person, he's not. In perfect situation, it's not. But he used the money that he was blessed to get from our community to reinvest it into our community. So what I say is, when it comes to a situation with co-parenting, remind yourself what it was that you loved about that person. And also look at your children and say, we must provide a unified, nurturing, loving environment, even though you're not together. But we did things together as a family all the time. And it sent a very strong message of love. I still love him. I love him with all my heart. He's married, but that doesn't change anything. His wife knows that. I don't love him romantically like I once did, but I respect him as the head of my family. And he is an astonishing father. So much respect to Kenny Gamble, and much respect to people who are able to rise above their immaturity or their differences to be mature adults and work in the best interest of their children.
Well, that's another mic drop on it. This is Miss Deanna Williams, the godmother of Black music. Yes. You dropped so much wisdom. And you toughed out those hot bites. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Some stuff, is it, you getting scared a little bit? Anybody got my sincerely chosen so I can get my life ready? Okay. No, you drank. My little brother drank it. This is why you can't have family involved in operation. Anyway, don't order me one. Anywho, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we're jumping into the last interviewee of the night. I don't even know what to expect from this interview. I've never done anything like this interview. Time check?
9:30.
9:30? What time have we got?
I was told 9.
9? Oh, DJ, what we want to do? We can turn this off. I'll turn off the mic. They said no? Well, he said 9:30. He might cut my mic off.
I ain't getting paid past 9:30.
All right, what did you get paid? All right, so bringing him up, because we got to keep this moving. His name is Keith Matthews Jr. I met him when I was 12 years old. We have a 12-year-old daughter together. We have been co-parenting, overcoming, and doing all of these great things as a family. We have Taco Tuesday every night. You don't sit on the mic. Oh, never mind, it's right there. I think I was just on the radio with Deanna Williams. We mentioned Deanna Williams, but with Lady B, doing a radio spot with her about this show. And one of the things that came out was Father's Day, of course, talking about the interview with him. And one of the things I mentioned was that we co-parent 2 daughters. You're supposed to bring it around. You don't reach over people. We co-parent 2 daughters. One is his biologically. My youngest daughter is not his child. But he stepped in when she was a baby and has been a father to her. And when I say father, I mean like he gets both of the girls every weekend, holidays. This is that. And I mean, my youngest daughter is aware that he's not her biological father, but if you ask her, she's like, that's my dad. That's the man of my life. And so I count myself blessed to have known him, have watched him grow into a man, and to be able to co-parent with him. So this is Keith Matthews Jr. Our mic is going in and out.
We need the mic.
All right, so let's start with how we met. We can tell this from. Y'all gotta be quiet. We don't have a mic at this point, so we're working off the cuff. Do you want to tell the story about how we met? Or?
All right, so we met on the bus. High school?
No, middle school.
Middle school. So I used to occupy the back of the bus. So she gets on the bus. Tough girl wants to just sit in my seat. She got on the bus first. So when I got on the bus, she's in my seat. Mind you, she's beautiful. So I'm thinking, try to work with me. So I get to the back of the seat. By the time you let me pick up the bus,
What? Okay, so we're not going to go there. So, I mean, we can. I had just moved to Delaware. In 2001, my mom and I moved from Pittsburgh to Delaware. She got a job working with Chase Bank. Development, started going to Shumadale Middle School, and you know the bus would come through. Yeah, it was true. Yeah, and the bus would come through our cul-de-sac, and his stop was before ours. So I don't know, but you would walk across the highway to see other people in our development and get on the bus with them. I don't think I was already on when you got on. I got on the bus and walked to the back because I had been sitting in the front and I was new, and that's not where I usually sat in Pittsburgh. And so my whole thing was just like, if you remember being in middle school, high school, the front middle of the bus wasn't where it was at. It was the back. It was the back. And so I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting in the front. I'm not sitting in the middle. And I remember for weeks I sat in like the front middle section, and he was always like the center of attention in the back. All of this stuff. And I was like, well, if I'm going to take a seat, if I'm going to claim a spot in the back of the bus. And so I remember, if you want to aim for it, go. No, but he was sitting there, and I remember I came and I sat because he was already in the seat, and you didn't like the fact that I was sitting on the outside. So you said, well, you're going to sit in my seat. And you gotta sit on the inside. I sit on the outside. You know, seat position is very important. Right? It's very important. So I said, all right, I took your seat. I'll re-sit on the inside. And so I moved to the inside, moved to the outside. That was my seat. Like that was our seat. But that's how we sat every single day. And so our friendship grew from there. Months after that, he asked me if I would be his girlfriend. For the next 5 years, on and off, we were together.
On and off.
On and off. On and off. On and off.
Tell the truth, bro.
Break up with him, get back with him, break up with him, get back with him. No, it wasn't the same day. It was never a couple hours. Never, unless you call Kelly. It was never a couple hours. But you know, he called a friend. Friend tried to, you know, whatever. But fast forward, we've been together at this point. We're established. We're known around high school as mom and dad.
We was like J and B.
Not at all.
That was just how it went. I remember Janelle Harvey. Some girl got his name on her nail, caused the whole riot in the whole school. On that picture, like it was on. Anywho. I found out I'm pregnant. I called him. Yeah, I was like, we need to talk. I think I'm pregnant. No, I am pregnant. He was like, no, I said I need to talk to you. I didn't tell you until I got in person. And me and my best friend rode around here, and he was like, so what's up?
But you know, when you get that call, I need to talk. Something wrong.
And I just we had broke up on and off, so the call could have been, oh, she's about to break up with me again, whatever. But we ended up talking, and I was like, I'm pregnant. And I'll never forget your response. And I was like, well, I want to be parents. I mean, it was very much just. From that point on, it was a journey that started. And we were there every step of the way. I remember being in labor. And he was annoying because he's just this clown, but he's very relaxed. And I'm the one that's all like, I wasn't
No, the C word around. No, the C word.
What I can say is I watched motherhood and fatherhood kind of grow us over these years. For you personally, how has fatherhood kind of impacted the man that you are today?
It's given me like a sense of responsibility. I feel like if it wasn't for Ariana, there would have been a lot of based off how would this affect. You know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't there, like, my brother was in jail for a long time, right? And that really affected me. Like, how would my daughter just wasn't there? Like, I would miss birthdays, first steps, all types of things. Me away from a lot of things, you know. Also made me feel like, especially with her, she's always doing something. She's always moving, striving for the best. Like, I kind of have to keep up, you know. I have to keep going. Not on that type of level. It's doing something, you know, to help out. It really molded me a lot.
What was running through your head that moment when you found out like
I'm a cute girl. I don't want to say
Put it out there.
He planned it.
Put it out there. I did it. She talking about going this way and
So you was crazy.
You was crazy too. Crazy. Crazy too. He was off rip.
Okay.
Horrible.
Because, and this is important. Now we talk about this. We talk to young women.
That's what he was
to
doing.
young women.
yeah, watch
All women.
Watch
Okay?
Watch.
Listen, you have to move it what's best for you. And this is beautiful to be in love and all of those great things. You have to be very aware of what you say, who you say it to, how you're saying it, those kind of things. Because I remember I was talking about NYU. I was going to go to NYU. I was going for journalism. And I mean, I always wanted to go to Temple. I always wanted to go to Temple. I had always wanted to go to Temple, but I've always been a dreamer. I've always, and not just a dreamer, but a doer. You know what I mean? I always had a plan. I was always like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Did well in school, was in church, was doing this. I've been working since I was 11 years old, making my own money for my life. And if you are in my circle, you know, I usually share those plans. I'm like, all right, once I figure out what I'm going to do, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm trying to go. This is the closest person to me, so I'm like, this is what I'm going, this is what I'm doing, this is where I want to go.
Look at his face.
And wherever, he didn't hear me saying, this is where we're going, this is where we're going to go. And so he was like, oh, we're going together. If you're not thinking about it, I'm going to think about it.
Smart man.
That was his. That was his.
it wasn't like, I know birth control world, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
That was calculated. This was,
Yo.
it was 0 to 1.
He is laying it out today.
Because not only because of where we're at now in our lives, because that's teenagers. That's not every teenager. But now that I work with youth, now that I've interacted with youth, it's a surreal moment when I'm talking to them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I sounded like. Oh my gosh, this is what he sounded. This is where we were at in our lives, and I think it's important not just for us to notice and have these private conversations, but I know there are teenagers that tune into this YouTube. There are teenagers who follow me on social media. This conversation can't always be had in private. Like they need to see what this looks like and what it could result in. And thankfully, I think to be two individuals who always put our kids first, two individuals who what we were going through personally, we always brought it back to the kids. and like, you know, we broke up and went our separate ways and we're living our lives, and then I'm with another child and he's ready to wring my neck and like drag me out somewhere or whatever. But he was the first person in my life that taught me unconditional love. I'll say this, he was the first man in my life who showed me what unconditional love looked like. And we're not together now. We've been in separate relationships, like whatever else the case may be. And that's something that I've learned how to be and do from you, is to love people unconditionally, to understand how to he's like, but I've abandoned that. I just can't. He's so smart. And what are some challenges that you as a man have had to overcome or just work?
All right, this was kind of hard because I still had feelings for her, so it was kind of hard to separate from what actually needs to be done. In the beginning, I felt like because I still had the feelings that I had to do things, watch the kids, like you go on a date, or stuff like that. So it was hard, but then it's like you got to realize that it's not about anything personal. So
that's one thing I can say about us, because I've gotten that question before, is, you know, Sarita, you're very vocal on social media about the fact that you co-parent and those kind of things. How do you deal with him being with another woman? How does he deal with you all being in relationships? And we were kind of talking about this, because we try to at least go out just to catch up on each other's lives and stuff, like once a month, the other month, whatever, just check in. And can't speak for everyone's situation, but with ours, I think something that has really been a bedrock in why we're able to navigate that is having trust in one another's judgment. Like, he doesn't just bring any woman around our kids. I don't bring any person around our kids. And so I think that has enabled us to really be able to say, okay, if this person is now in your life at a point where you're in a committed relationship and they're about to be around the kids, and we've had a conversation about it, and you're letting me know where you're at, I'm letting you know where I'm at, we're going with the kids and what we're trying to do and what's coming up next, we'll navigate it a little more easy by having those good conversations. You know, but it's the trust and judgment.
It's like, I have friends, like female friends, that'll bring just anybody around at church. Any guy that deals with male friends, too, I have female friends that'll just bring any female, even if you've known this girl for 2 weeks, you might have her in the car with your kids. And I don't think you should, if it's not something serious, like going somewhere, I don't think you should involve the children. You gotta explain things, and, well, where's such and such, and this. I don't think you should put that type of. So if it's not, if you're not in it. Plus, I know she's not just going to bring any guy around her kids. So if she's messing with someone, she's taking it somewhere. I mean, I can only respect it. It's your choice. You're going to have relationships. These relationships, they're going to have to accept the kids that you have. They're going to have to be around the kids. But, like, realistically, you got to accept those things. And
There is that. Questions?
You got out of it.
Yeah.
What advice do you got that y'all can give to somebody who don't have kids and probably expect?
Probably expected. Probably expected.
Maybe like I know what happened.
You're not expecting, bro.
It was a moment.
More than
And I
likely,
think more than likely she might be.
that I might
She ain't let me know yet, but. So what would be the best advice to give?
If you are expecting the possibility of a child in your life. Okay.
All right. My advice.
Confirm.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, all right. If you got kids, sometimes you might not be financially stable to do everything. To me, what really matters is the kids have to know who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be through everything, with everything. And you have to realize that this is every day, all day, all the time. Even if you don't got the money to be like this, you put this like,
the optimal thing would, of course, be to have a child when you're ready. But I have to be honest, I've seen women who are 40-something years old have children. And because they're financially stable, because, either they're in a marriage or they have a stable relationship, outside looking in, it's like, oh, they're ready. They're exactly where they should be with kids. But emotionally, they're bankrupt. You know what I mean? Or the person they're dealing with is emotionally bankrupt. So I really think you got to get clear anything else on what you think it really means and what's meaningful to be a parent. If that's what your reality is about to be, what kind of parent are you about to be to this child? And what's important to you? What were the things that you didn't have? To do different. Like, I know with me, my father was always very financially present. He instilled in me the importance of education, self-discipline, of those kind of things, especially as I got older, and then definitely once I had my child, or our child. But emotionally, that was a disconnect for us. That was a very big disconnect, and it caused a lot of turmoil within myself, self-esteem. Especially being a child, like figuring out why my dad wasn't there, why wasn't me, what wasn't, those kind of things that young women do when they don't have that father figure in their lives. And that's why I said, like, he was the first person, the first man to really show me what unconditional love was. And so, those moments where I'm breaking up and getting back together, I'm trying to figure out, and what does it mean to love myself? And then what does that also mean in the process of feeling love for somebody else? If this is my dream, but this person is on this path, how do I be true to who I am, but still love this person? It's a hard, very hard crossroads to meet. And I think I've met that many of times, but being a grown adult, but I don't think without having a parent in your life. And if you're like, I can't financially do this, you need to start Googling free things that you can do with your kids out there, because there's a lot of things that are free that you can do here. You don't have to just have money. It is important though, because there can reach a point where I know as a woman, you're like, you're just a babysitter. You're a babysitter. So you gotta figure out what your role is going to be. What kind of father do you want to be? What kind of father do you have, and what do you want to be going forward? Hopefully that helps. But anybody else? Questions? Yes?
What advice you had for someone who is you don't have a child yourself in dating? So how did you all manage that?
It's I'm a joking person. I actually have a friend who, and mind you, we've been friends for a long time. She's seen me through having, not having a kid and becoming a mother. And she was always the one who was like, I'm not dating a man with kids. I'm not playing mom to anybody. I need to be first. I need to be the only. And if I can't be that, then I'm not the one for you. If you can't give me all of your attention, all of your time, I'm not the one for you. And as a mom, as a single mom, knowing that, there's a father of my child out here who might one day encounter a woman like that, it was like kind of stinging in a bit because it was like, okay, well, they have a child, and yeah, that is heavy. But it's not like impossible. It's not like you can't do it. But what I appreciated was her honesty and realizing where she was at and what she can handle and what she couldn't handle. Because at least if she met a guy who had a child, she can go in and say, just being honest, that's not what I'm looking for. And then no time is wasted, no, real feelings are hurt or whatever the case may be. But if you, for some reason, have already established a feeling with this person or interest, the first thing you need to accept is the number one. And if you are not okay with that, then you need to take 2 steps back and to the left. Especially if they're that kind of parent, that child will always come before you. And that's how it should be.
I had a girlfriend, and we had that conversation. She used to really feel some type of, I'm not gonna say she felt some type of way, but she couldn't really handle it. You're not number one if she comes first. So her birthday is like a few days after Ariana, so where I may not be able to go on vacation because I have Ariana. And at first it was really different. She really kept at me, really gives me a bunch of grief about why I can't be on vacation. Like she understands, she gets it. She knows it's not going to change. So if you're going to be with that person, you kind of have to gotta accept that.
Hey. Question. Is anything y'all would expect more from each other? Anything to see around or everything's ready?
I honestly think at this point, I think we both grown so much that, and some days I wake up and I'm surprised. Like, stuff that I know used to be a challenge for us is not as much. And then I also think we've reached a point where, like, little petty arguments or whatever that might like leave us not talking for a couple of days, even though we would check in about the kids or whatever. Everything flow. It's just like, okay, you done being a man? Are you done? You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, we're moving on now. Like, we had the conversation. I like food, you know. All right, so we gotta wrap up. But one thing I will say is we've done a better job at nipping things in the bud in that moment. Like, we have that conversation in that moment. And I think we do a lot more of like analyzing in the moment what are the feelings that our reactions are tied to. Like, all right, like this, girl, I feel like this when you do this, or I feel like this when this kind of situation comes up. Communication is key. It's key. And I don't know, you want to jump in? But I would say communication, like,
you gotta be open, you gotta be able to have adult conversation. Even if you feel like something you're about to say is gonna make the other person feel some type of way. As long as it's honest and real, you gotta have that conversation. So like there's like sit down and say, hey, I think you can do this better. Have that type of open communication. Not
I think it's also paying attention to communication styles too. Everybody doesn't communicate the same way. And I think if nothing else, the one thing I've had to learn, especially as a writer, who's more prone to writing and not speaking, my words are when I speak than they do when I write. Because when I write, I have more time.
Sometimes, like reading her text, it's like she uses words so well, you really have to dissect. If you don't really pay attention, you might not catch the shot. That's really, I look at that. Somebody sends me a text, I might pull something out of it, you didn't even mean it. But it's because I'm so
Communication now is very. One thing that I always say is taste your words before you feed them to somebody else. And I think that's very important with co-parenting. trying to achieve something as a unit, you two being at odds isn't going to accomplish that. That's like your greatest enemy. That's got to be your greatest ally. And so in any case, you have to put in that effort to understand each other, because everything that we are and are not, our kids are becoming. They said I gotta wrap up, y'all. We got two. This the last two.
All right, so I got two beautiful daughters. What are y'all going for? Not just cheerfulness, right?
Goals is co-parent.
Both of them.
She said,
Okay, I just want them to grow up and be young people, know how to carry themselves in public. They're already smart. Be right. Be right. This is your life.
Just be right.
Just be right. Don't mess with boys. Don't ever get nobody.
Dads be like, you know, be right, no better.
Because the more mature he becomes in being a father, the more I mean, like real father moments where he's like, I'm gonna kill that little boy. Where's my gun? Like it's coming out, I think, on a different level. As a mother, I'm raising girls in 2017. We're raising girls in 2017. 12 years old. One of the things, and even before 12, we've had to deal with so much. I mean, things neither one of us could have ever prepared for. But like one of the things we just recently days is like social media. An Instagram account. And like so like shout out to Godmom, because she happened to like Godmom's picture, and Godmom's like, oh yeah, did you guys know she has an Instagram account? We're like, I'm sorry, what? So we go to the account, sure enough, she has an Instagram account. And so we're going through now.
All day.
Search. Like that's just a given here. But like we're going through grandma's, because grandma's grandma, so she whatever. But she set up the grandma's email, because this is how smart 12-year-olds are. And
They didn't like nobody that would tell us.
she didn't like any of her she didn't follow or connect with any of her family members. So, you know, she's smart how she's doing it. But we found the account, and I mean there's no inappropriate, you know, content or anything on there. The fact that we can tell you can have one. Conversation that has that. We already told you couldn't have one. It's like the whole starting point, like, no, you can't have one. And then we end up asking her, you know, what's the password to the account? I don't remember. We started the account 2 days ago. I don't remember literally 2 days ago. She started it. We're like, I don't remember the password. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. We got the email because you started with grandma, so we'll just reset and see if we know, because we are. And not just because of that, but that plays a big part in being able to stay a couple steps ahead of your kids. Don't worry about it. We're going to deal with you on that because I know you're lying.
I'm ready.
But he's like all guns blazing. But you know, we got the password. All in DMs, we checking all the DMs. We're going through all the content, like level of parenting now that has to happen to keep the child protected. So we're not gonna go too deep, but just this. That all is to say, definitely, so for any of those who are watching, there's nothing like fun or if that is the position or the circumstance you find yourself in, like my mom told me the night that she found out, and I thought she would kill me. And she did the exact opposite. She hugged me as tight as she could. And she told me it's not the end of the world. That was this sequence. It's not the end of the world. What's your plan? And I told her my plan. I'm going to college. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I did everything I said I was going to do. So if you're in that position, not the end of the world. But you also have to be mindful, aware of every step that you take once you begin that journey. And even if you're not, if you're going dope and you're not for kids or whatever, you gotta be mindful in how y'all are acting and what you're doing. In a co-parenting situation, what would you offer? For people who are in co-parenting situations, so closing advice to them.
Communication is key. You guys have to really talk to each other. Open and honest with each other.
Respectfully.
Yes. To make it work, make sure that it works.
And so, in honor of Father's Day, this is where I wanted to sit down and have this conversation with this guy, who I just have really grown to admire and respect. Really keeps me tapped into that 16-year-old girl. And like that moment where we both realized that our lives were changing, but that also we were going to be that pivotal point in making sure that, oh, you know what? I know what you were like here, and oh my gosh, look how far we've come, and look how far our children have come, and children, and so forth and so on. You know, hopefully, Sonia, you know, no, not hopefully. We want to make sure they don't go into debt and all that. And Mother Williams, we gonna make sure they know about the Black Music Fund and all the history and all that great stuff. And yes, we are definitely want to make sure that and making sure our girls are protected, and not just our girls we come into contact with, because you know, all for women's empowerment, which is why I love you. But
Okay, one thing. I'm so
And that's a wrap.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yo, boy, you're not gonna help me now.
So, 2 seconds before everybody leaves, she has no idea. This is season 3 for she talked a little bit. Take that shot. Hey. She has no idea, but we put a lot of effort into it. And being a part of the team that started this, Anita being here, like when she first called us and asked us to be a part of this live thing was something we couldn't have imagined on how to put together. But we sat down, and with your idea, we made this happen. And we just want to appreciate you for the 3 years of work that you put into this. Nothing deep. This is phenomenal. You deserve every moment of love and everything. We got you a cake. We love you like this, we can. So, oh, we can't smash it. We got a piece. I did not hear. No, but with that being said, from the team that's been working right now to the team that's never been a part of it, we want to say thank you for your idea. Thank you for letting us be a part of it. We're so excited to transition into podcasts. We hope that you guys look forward to those podcasts starting January 2018. Sincerely, Sarita. Thank you for being an audience for this.
Well, there you have it, guys. The season finale is over. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all social media so that you can be updated and able to catch up with us when we start the podcast in 2018. I'm Miss Monster Boss, and this is the Sincerely Chosen Show with Sincerely Sarita, DJ Geek, and everything.